If you've been trying to figure out exactly whether to use make.com or end-to-end's AI agents, well, this video is for you. Because in this video, I'm going to be breaking everything down step by step to how they work, to how you can build them, and the pros and cons of each one, so you don't waste time building on the wrong one. And in case we haven't met, my name is Michele, and over the past 12 months, I've helped over 40 businesses implement AI and automations and taught over 17,000 people in the process. With that being said, let's dive in. All right, so what I have right here is the search terms, which means that what do people search for? Well, as you can see, make.com is in blue, end-to-end is in red. The popularity of end-to-end clearly has increased over time. And it is mainly, like, let's be realistic here, it is mainly because of the AI agent feature that they dropped. And that's web search. If I go on YouTube search, which means that what are people actually looking for? As we can see, it's insane. I mean, the end-to-end is obviously overpowering make.com in every single instance, right? Going from 96 to 6, which means that people are actively looking for this more, which should just tell you enough about which one's better and which platform people use the most, people like the most, and so on. This is like the moment of make.com versus Zapier. Yeah, I remember when make.com was just overtaking Zapier, and Zapier was just pretty much dead when everyone was using Zapier. So sort of like that new kid in the block just came through and smashed both of them. So we go to end-to-end right here. I can see that end-to-end is completely, as you can see, just obliterating both of them, which is great. All right, so let's dive in. What I have right here is an end-to-end AI agent. And by the way, I made a full step-by-step video showing you how you can build your first end-to-end AI agent from scratch. Check it out on the top here. And what I have right here is a make.com AI agent. Now I'm gonna walk you through exactly, I'm gonna show a demo of how it actually works, and then we can get on to the actual like step-by-step, how it's configured, how it works, how you build it, and so on. Now this AI agent right here, the way it works is that we have everything from Telegram. So both AI agents start with a chat. So we chat to it. We say, hey, can you do something for me? Well, this AI agent in this case is connected to the first tool, which is send an email, and the second tool, which is make a LinkedIn post. Okay, so first tool is to be able to send an email, and the second tool is to be able to make a LinkedIn post. And so fundamentally, with the way an AI agent works is that you give it a task, so right here in this case, and based on what it thinks of that task, based on AI categorizing that task, it then calls the appropriate tool, either send an email or make a LinkedIn post. So let me run this. Let me go to Telegram right here. Let me start a new chat, and let me say, I mean, in this case, you see how it just started because we sent the message. Well, it didn't categorize the actual message because there was no send an email, there was no make a LinkedIn post. So it just went through here. It didn't call any tools. So now let's say I say, can you send an email to saying that we have dinner, or we have a meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. with the investors, and make sure to bring coffee for everyone. Okay, so I'm gonna send this message through. It's gonna think about what it needs to do. We can then go here and see that this was called because we're telling it to send an email. And now it's gonna come back to us with a message. In this case, it will be the email to Michele about the meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. with investors and bringing coffee has been sent. Anything else I can assist you with. So if I go to my email now, I can see here that I have meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. with investors. Saying, hi Michele, just a reminder that we have a meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. with investors. Please make sure to bring coffee for everyone. Thanks and see you then. And the subject line was made as well. Okay, and now let's say I do the LinkedIn post. So let me go here. Let me say right now, can you create a LinkedIn post about make.com versus end-to-end AI agents, and which one is better? Boom. So it gets the thing. Now we go to the second tool, which is called, because again, we're not sending an email here, we are making a LinkedIn post. So the step in the middle is really the AI agent. It thinks through what it needs to do. And then it sends back a message here, which in this case is the LinkedIn post. Here's a LinkedIn post comparing make.com. It's right here, make.com, and then open source. Make.com suits those who want to, obviously it's definitely skewed towards make.com here. But we know this because this is the platform. But it's eventually how it works. So again, we have one workflow. Then we have this workflow right here, which is, again, everything is left to right in make.com. This AI agent, which is this step right here, then calls this tool if it's send an email, and it calls this tool if it's make a LinkedIn post, okay? That's fundamentally how it works. But if you go to end-to-end, I can then show you how this works. So you can already see the setup is different because we're not going from left to right here. Like the whole AI agent, I can see everything from one place, which is already a good point, which is already a pro that we have to give n to n and the way that they actually set it up, because I don't have to go between 1, 2, and 3, right? Everything is within 1, which makes it so much easier for us to handle it. Oh, whatever. Let's open chat. Let me say, hey. So we can see now this goes here to the AI agent. Then it goes here to the OpenAI because that's how it thinks. And it even remembers the thing itself. It's asking me, hey, how can I assist you today? As you can see, the tools were not called because we didn't say anything about drafting an email. And let's say, I say, can you draft an email to... All right, so I said, can you draft an email to michele.torti5@gmail.com saying we have an investor meeting at 7 p.m. and that you need to bring coffee. And what this is doing now, it will think through the AI agent. It will then call the tool that it needs to call to then be able to say, hey, we've drafted an email. So if I go here to my email, I can see that in drafts, I have investor meeting reminder and say, hey, just a reminder that we have an investor meeting scheduled at 7 p.m. Also, please remember to bring coffee, thanks. And it made the subject line as well. And now if I use a calendar event, and let's say now we wanted to test the calendar. Let's say I go here and I say, what events do I have going on this week? Now it will think through what it needs to do through its AI. It will then call this tool because we told it to do so. And now it's giving me groceries September 17th and football as well. If I go to my calendar here, I can see that this is my other calendar, but I have groceries 5 p.m. on Wednesday and I have football 3:30 p.m. on Friday. All right, so fundamentally, you now understand the way it looks, like the way that it actually works. Let's go through the details of how it's configured, how they actually work, and how you can basically set it up. All right, so I just made this wider so it's easier to just look. So the way that the end-to-end AI agent is configured is that we have a chat trigger. So this is basically saying what is the input, what's the thing that's going inside the AI agent, and we just use a typical chat trigger node. So this right here, we'll just make it so that we just chat to it like this, open chat, and we can start talking to it here. Then what this does is that it talks to the AI agent in this case. So if you go to this block right here, we can see that the way that this is set up is saying, hey, what is the source? What is the input? In this case, it's connected to chat trigger node because again, this is a chat trigger node. A node isn't just a square in this case. And the way that the AI agent actually works on a like fundamental level is that we give it instructions, which in this case is called a system message. The system message is a thing that the AI agent thinks through, so the instructions it was given, to then be able to take action on whatever it is. Now here we said you are a helpful, intelligent executive assistant AI agent designed to handle various tasks, and then we give it the tools. So the tools is basically what softwares that they connected to that they can actually take action on. And then we obviously give it the description of the tool. Gmail will be used to draft an email. The first step is identifying what email we are drafting the email to, then understanding the context of the email, and then actually drafting it. Same thing with the calendar event. And then we also give it rules and the time and date as well. So again, chat trigger node, so we talk to it, then we go to the AI agent, which now think through what it needs to do. And again, this is all in the same place right here. And now we can connect, right? Because right here, the way that the AI agent is set up is so that we have to connect a chat model. So in this case, the chat model will be the thing that it actually uses to think. So we drag it across here. The memory. So the memory is like when we give it, so let's talk to it actually. Let me show you an example. Let's say, how are you doing today? And let me connect the memory here, just so you can see the example of a memory. I can now ask it a question. It will then not call any tools because there isn't any tool to call. And let me ask it, what did I just ask you? Don't mind my spelling. I think it will take it for what it is. And then here it says, you just asked me how I'm doing today. How can I assist you further? So that's what the memory is about. It is there for us to be able to remember the previous conversations. So it has context, right, of what we're telling it. And then the tools in this case are the things that are going to be connected to the AI agent for it to be able to actually take action. So again, this is all in the same place. We're not making 3 different workflows that we are make.com. And so fundamentally here, we're letting AI define the message, define the email, define the subject line based on the context, based on the message that we gave the AI agent. And this is the exact same when it comes to the calendar tool as well. Because right here, all we did is connected to the tool. So we just press plus. We looked for calendar, Google Calendar tool. We then went on this page right here. All we had to do is connect it, set automatically. The thing is event because that's where we're changing or that's where we're taking action on. The action itself is get many. So we want to get the events. The calendar list, you can put your email. And then it's asking us for the time frame. Like from when do you want us to be able to pull the events? Because again, if I say, hey, can you get the events from this week? How does it know what this week is? When is it before and when is it after? So it knows the time frame to be able to do that. And by simply pressing this button right here, let the model define this, this makes it so much easier for us because now we don't have to do this, right? Like if you look at this for the first time, you're like, what is this? I thought we were doing no code, right? And we are, right? If you just press this button. So again, this makes it so much easier for us to be able to then configure this AI agent and make it at such a higher speed because we don't have to do a bunch of stuff. All we have to do is connect the tools, then make the account connection, then put the action that we want to take, and then press the 3 buttons to let AI define pretty much all the parameters. And there's fundamentally how the AI agent works. Again, this is all in one place: track trigger node, AI agent node, LLM and memory, and tools and softwares as well. Now let's go to make.com. As we can see here, this is fundamentally the way it's set up. So we have the main AI agent, which is the thing that's going from left to right, because that's how make.com works. Everything goes from left to right, but it all is an AI agent. But the only thing here is that make.com, they position themselves as a workflow tool, as a linear workflow tool. So everything that they do, as you can see, still looks like a workflow, even though it has the AI agent feature. And the AI agent feature in this case is the ability for us to send a message from here to here and saying, hey, can you take action on this? Can you send an email? And then it calls these specific tools. Now, the way that it actually is configured, now, once you connect it, you'll come on this page right here. All you have to do really is create an AI agent. So this is the new thing. Add a connection type, make AI providers. Then you have to choose the actual AI that's used. In this case, it's this one right here. So this is what it replaces, chat model. It can be OpenAI and so on. Once you connect that, all you have to do is put the name and now choose the model that you want to use. And then you have to put the system prompt, which is the same as this, right? The system message. So they all have a similar structure. In this case, we still need the system message because the AI agent needs to know exactly what it needs to do. So the steps to actually create one is just create an agent. Again, connect your OpenAI or the AI model that you're using to think, and then name the AI agent model. Which model are you using? And then put the system prompt. In the system prompt, you can simply use the same one that we have here because it still has to have an overview, the tools, and the rules as well. Okay, and you close this. And now here we can see that we have connected the AI agent to 2 different scenarios. So in this case, it's not like end-to-end in the way that this right here has an input and an output, but it also has the tools here and here. This is linear and it calls this right here and it calls this right here. So it calls sub workflows in this case. So if I go here, I can see that, and again, a workflow in this case is a scenario. That's the way that make.com actually names it. But if we press add a tool, now it will give us the ability for us to choose the automation that we can connect this AI agent to in order for us to call the thing, right? In this case, because I already have the send an email under the agent folder and make a LinkedIn post, we can just select each one. Once you select each one, this will now be able to call this tool, call this workflow, call this scenario, this automation, when it thinks through that it actually is that right thing to call, right? If we just say, hey, how are you? It will think through the system instructions that we gave it. It will then look at the tools and say, hey, I have to send an email and I have to make a LinkedIn post. Did he ask me to do any of those? No, we're not going to call it. But let's say I say send an email. Well, in this case, it's going to call this first tool and send the signal right here. Okay. All right. So now that we connected these right here, and I'll show you exactly what they look like on the workflows. Then we have the thread ID, which just means how can we keep everything in the same conversation? It will remember. So this is this part right here, which is the memory. How does it remember the previous messages? Well, in this case, if everything is in the same thread, same chat, it will remember. And then the message. So the message in this case can be hello. There's a text right here. We'll just pull it across. And this will be the thing that we actually give it. This is the input. All right, so once we connected this to the 2 different tools, in this case, the 2 different scenarios, if you go to the actual scenario itself, the first thing you have to do is make sure that the trigger is on demand, because that's how it works. We're demanding it to actually start the automation. It's not a polling trigger, so it doesn't run every single once a day, every week, specified days of the month. It only runs when we want it to run. That's why it's on demand. So if we go in here, we can see that these tools, these are the variables that we give it. So email address, subject line, and content, which in this case, by the way, are these: subject line, message, and whoever sending the email to. But here we just press this button, and in make.com, we have to create custom input variables. And for those of you who don't know what custom input variables are, well, they're not variables that we can pull from here. They're variables that we get from here, which is scenario inputs, which the only way to actually make those is to go down here to scenario inputs and set the email address as a variable, which is, again, giving a description. So it's basically like a variable that you tell make.com, hey, these are the different variables that we need to get every single time. You can also give it a description. So this is the email address we're sending the email to, email and email address. And you do the exact same for the subject line and for the email body. Because now the AI will know exactly what kind of inputs it needs to give to this workflow right here, to this automation, in order for actually do its thing. And so here, when we set the inputs, then we have them listed here. We can just drag it across. And this is something dynamic because it changes every single time, because AI is the one that decides what goes in here. And once this is done, then we can go here to this return output, and we give it the message ID. Now, in order for us to get this, now we have to specify the scenario outputs. So we're saying, okay, what's the input that goes into this workflow? What's the output that goes out? In this case, it's just an ID, which is the email message ID as a text. And that's the thing that's gonna show up right here, message ID. We give it across. So, and that's the same thing right here. We basically just configure the exact same. We have this, in this case is to make a LinkedIn post. So the system prompt in this case is always gonna be the same. And the only thing that changes here is the topic of the actual post, which we set as an input here. Topic. And then the output is the result, which is a LinkedIn post, which is the output, LinkedIn post. So fundamentally, the way that it works on a high level, you can really start to see the differences here, is that we have the input, hey, can you draft an email? It'll then go here, it will think through its system prompt, which also includes the different tools and workflows and automations that the AI agent is connected to. Then based on the context that it has, based on the input that it has, it will then call the predefined workflow, predefined automation, and then send the signal right here or here, depending on what we give it. But bear in mind that when we have to make AI agents for Make.com, we're always gonna have to make different workflows, which adds a level of time that we have to devote more to this, because this right here can now be replaced with a simple plus Gmail tool here, message, you draft it, make your connection, and to subject, message, and then all you have to do is send replies to, and it's all done. Whilst here, you have to make a new workflow, you have to connect it here to the main AI agent, and then you have to set the scenario inputs and the scenario outputs. So there is that time that you have to devote to this, even if it's something as simple as this. So let me show you exactly step by step the way that it actually works here. Let me go to Telegram, and let me say, hey, how are you? Well, now it will go here, it will think through what it needs to do, but because there's no AI agents or there's no tools that were called, because we just give it, hey, how are you? Now it will then give us the output. And if I go in here, I can see the execution steps, which is basically everything that the AI agent does, which actually looks not that good, to be honest. It looks pretty complex when someone looks at this, right? Because this is the exact steps that the tool or the AI agent goes through. And if you look at this, it's just a bunch of text that we don't want to look at. It's very unstructured. It doesn't really make sense, which is just the minus of Make.com AI agents. At least for someone who's actually willing and able to use them. Because it's so many of them, even just a simple thing of like, hey, how are you? It goes through 23 different steps, which you're simply not going to go through. And a token usage as well. And it gives us the output. So let's say now though, I actually call a tool. So I say, hey, send an email to saying, good job on this week's work. Keep it up. Okay. What it will do now is that it will think through what it needs to do. It will then call this agent right here. As you can see, this is running because we said send an email, and then it gives us the output. And the output again is the email to Michele congratulating him on this week's work has been sent. And if I go to my email right here, I can see that I got an email saying great work this week. Hi Michele, good job on this week's work. Keep it up. Best regards. And that was all done with AI. All right, so now that we saw exactly how the Make.com AI agent works and how the end-to-end AI agent works, what are the pros and cons of each one? Well, the first one here is that we get to see the AI agent on one interface, which means that everything is in one place in end-to-end, which makes it so much easier for us to be able to debug, which means it's more scalable over time, because if something goes wrong here, I can see the exact step that goes wrong because it follows a very, very specific process. Whilst here, yes, it follows a very specific process, but it's separated into 3 different workflows. And you can imagine how a AI agent that's more complex with, let's say, 20 different tools means that we have 20 different tabs open at the same time, which simply isn't great when something goes wrong because you have to look at 20 different tabs to see what went wrong, what broke, right? So that in itself makes it so much easier for us to use it. So I give this to end-to-end 100%. The second thing that I thought was really, really important is the ability for us to actually set it up. Like, how easy is it to set it up? Yes, we have to make the workflows, but is this easier to set up versus this? Well, no, because the AI agent on n8n, all you have to do is press plus. You have to look for a Gmail tool or the actual software itself, calendar. You can look for Telegram. You can look for Perplexity. You can look for anything else that's out there. Let's do Gmail. And then you have to go through just a very, very linear process, as I mentioned before, step by step, real quick. It'll take you less than 2 minutes to set up. While here, you have to go here. You have to connect the actual workflow, the tool. Then you have to go here, make a new workflow, set this up, set the scenario inputs, set the scenario outputs, set this as well, set this as well, and then only are you done, and you can test. Which makes it honestly 20 times harder to make the actual AI agent on make.com versus n8n, which is why I give this to n8n. And then comes the scalability part. So we know that this is more visual compared to this because this is broken down into 3 different workflows. And if it's 20 different tools, 20 different workflows, way harder to manage. And it's easier to set up. So you can easily do it here. While here, you have to spend 20 times more time. But which one is the most scalable? Like which one's worth the business using in 2025? Should they use an n8n AI agent or should they use a make.com AI agent? Well, I believe that scalability comes from the fact of something being concrete. How concrete is it and how easy is it to mitigate errors? Which means that if something goes wrong, how easy can we fix it or prevent to fix it in the first place? Well, I do think that this right here in n8n definitely has an upper edge because it isn't everything in one place. It's actually much easier. If something goes wrong, I can visually see here as soon as I go in this tab. Whilst here, because we're gonna have, and again, this is a very easy example, but for a business, it's gonna look a bit different than that. I mean, this is gonna be pretty much the same, but what about this? We're gonna have 15, 20 tools. Maybe even the tool itself is much more complex than we actually make it out to be with just an email tool and sending back an input. This could be the same, but these workflows right here, they are probably gonna change. They're gonna be more complex. They're gonna have more sophistication to it, which adds so much more complexity when we have to set it up and hand it off to the customer and maintain it over time. It's just less scalable, right? So that's why I think I definitely recommend to use n8n AI agents instead of make.com AI agents. And there's a very, very clear reason why the Google Trends, why the numbers don't lie, right? Everyone's looking for n8n AI agents, not make.com AI agents. All right, so there is the comparison between n8n and make.com AI agents. And if you're someone who wants to build automations step by step, whether that's on make.com or whether that's on n8n, then check out the first link down below, which will take you to my free school community. You will go to Classroom section, and here in the templates vault, you will be able to see all the templates of the videos that I've done within n8n, as well as tons of make.com automations and tutorials as well. And if you apply and you get in, you also get access to my AI automations one-on-one course, which is a very comprehensive guide from someone starting from zero in automation to hero, where they're actually able to build an automation step by step for themselves or for other businesses. The only catch is, yes, this community is free, but not everyone gets in. As you can see, we have a waitlist of 224 people and not everyone gets in. So please, 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 when you apply, put some thoughts into your answers. And if you get in, I'll see you on the inside. So I hope you found value from this video, and I hope now you understand the difference between make.com AI agents and n8n AI agents, how they work, how they're configured, and which one you should choose in your business or someone else's business heading to 2026. And if you want to dive deeper into n8n AI agents, then make sure to check out this video on the screen where I show you exactly how I built the ultimate personal assistant on n8n. It's a full complete guide on the setup an AI agent, and you get the workflow for free as well. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one.